and would like to share with you today what I have learned when trying to get into literature, publish papers, and so on. For unexperienced academics and even for people who have experience, there are some self-designed challenges, so-called. Some people just go ahead and type in their topic. And of course, it won't help if you want to make sure you find the most of the literature. Please don't do that. What you need to do is explore your keywords. We will have some techniques. This is a must-have if you want to scrap up all the literature you need. Of course, you have to be focused on the goals of your literature search and pre-select the database. And of course, there are some AI-backed databases we'll talk about. AI tools can be a good way to validate your findings, especially if you have found one benchmark result, the ideal paper you were looking for with all the sources. Some AI tools will help you to go beyond that, to look forward to the papers that cited this paper and the other way around, to all the literature map this paper has. And of course, get in touch with experts. You have your colleagues and maybe research advisor. That's great because people can really be of help when you have challenges, people around you. So when thinking about searching the literature, it's important to distinguish between wide search and narrow search. And if you will keep this picture in mind, it can really help you to have the optimal effort in looking for papers. Of course, people start sometimes with wide search, sometimes with narrow search. It's important to switch between these two at least 2 or 3 times to find relevant literature because it goes into both of these areas. Okay, we will talk about wide search, narrow search today as well. What is really important if you are searching for literature is to use a framework, to structure your actions, to avoid doing the same thing again and again and losing the data. So the first thing we start with usually is asking a question. You have some question in mind, you need literature, you need to explore all the scientific conversations on this topic. Okay, you have your question, what do you do next? What is your idea? What is the next step? Well, before that, before going and searching, you need to really work with your question. You need to extract the key concepts and then focus separately on each concept. It's called developing search terms or exploring your keywords or whatever. You basically need to capture all the variety of words people use to mark the same concepts. And for that, there are some AI tools to explore the synonyms. And also there is wide search. And of course, you can use all just general Google search to understand the synonyms in your area. Well, after that, you need to select a search resource because depending on your goals, there can be different databases for narrow search, for wide search, and so on. And after that, only after that, it's better to execute the search because you're well prepared, you know your search query. We'll work today with that. And what do you think comes next? After you have your search results, what do you do about them? Too many papers, and to select them, you have to have some criteria, right? Yeah, this is something people do automatically, usually, but after you execute the search, you of course assess your results. And we will discuss some quality controls today. And also, it's important to document the results. Why? Because if this is a literature review for your paper, or maybe this is a standalone work, which is systematic literature review, there will always be a reviewer saying, please add this paper, you have overlooked that paper, and so on. So it's important to document your results and track down the name of the database, the date, the number of search results, because when you will repeat your search, you will have all the data to make your time more effectively spent. And the last step is evaluate and improve your search query, evaluate the results, how many papers you found, and you can go into more papers by focusing on your main results. So that's the main steps. These are the main steps we will go through today. So let's start with asking a question. And this is just an example question. What impact does Belt and Road Initiative make on urban development in Eurasia? And there are two AI-backed tools you can use, Consensus app and elicit.org. Why you go there? Because when you have your question, you can just copy-paste your question to these two tools. And if you're new to the topic, or if you haven't done your search in a while, these AI tools will effectively give you very high quality results. I suggest you to use both of them and start with Consensus, because it can give you a systematic review right away. You can see it's just in the filters menu. You can distinguish between study types. So you just put in your research question and get systematic literature review straight away. You don't need to browse through Google Scholar for days. And then elicit gives you a very good wrap-up of what is going on in academic literature as well. And you can validate the findings by consensus if you use one more AI tool to make sure you don't overlook anything. And this can give you a very good idea on the synonyms you need for your keywords, which is the next step. Okay, so the next step is to develop the search terms. And here, this research question has the following 3 search terms or concepts that can be extracted. And what to do? What do you do next when you understood your keywords from your research question, or you just know the keywords? It's of course trying to understand the synonyms. So here I have got this list of synonyms using the website called bettersynonyms.com. And this is a website not only for academic concept synonym search, but also for general search for synonyms if you have troubles writing something, right? And here, for example, the synonym urban development and the context of academic article. So the context is the phrase where this word should be, or you can define it broader. And then there are interesting synonyms that I have also incorporated into my developing search terms list. Why do you need to do that? It's because when you use your search query, you should make sure it's good enough to get all the variety of synonyms, to make sure you don't miss anything. Of course, that's one of the tools. You can get the best of synonyms through manual searching in Google or through academic articles. And of course, you know your synonyms if you are in the field for some time. So you develop your search terms and fill out the table. And of course, we need to select a search resource. After that, so to select your search resource, there are some opportunities. And on the left, there are databases that have restrictions currently. On the right, the databases that are still active. And if you look on the right, there is Semantic Scholar. And this is a very great AI-backed tool that goes and uses the search query. So it basically works as good as Scopus maybe. And if we talk to the Scopus, that's the most interesting part today, there is a way to get access to it. And let me tell you how. So let's go and talk about dealing with the imposed restrictions. So this is just a screenshot from Higher School of Economics electronic resources. And what you see is red text. It can help you to download even the papers under the restrictions Maybe there are some cases when it doesn't work, but I used it and it helps for the publishers that have imposed the restrictions. You just, maybe you can reinstall it or use some VPN as well. So when you activate it, it just helps you to download the paper. There is a different page and it works as a proxy. Okay, so that's an easy way to deal with that. The more sophisticated way is registering on Elsevier. I think we all know what's Elsevier. That's a huge publishing office. And if you also work as a reviewer, if you got invited to review for a journal, which is under Elsevier, you have your registration. And if you log in to the site right now, you can easily register there even now. So you go to Reviewer Hub, and then you go and volunteer for a journal to review. You can select the desired area, economics, finance, management, and so on, and then pick the journal you'd like to review for. And this can give you the 30-day access to Scopius as a thank you from Elsevier for contributing to the reviewing process. And this is the example letter that you get. So from Elsevier Reviewer Hub saying, well, it says it expires in 7 days, the access, but the access is granted the moment you agree to review for the journal, as far as I know. So this thing that it really works, even under the restrictions for now, and especially if you have a network of scholars abroad or network of Russian scholars who review for the journal, you can get easily invited using this opportunity. So don't overlook it. So that's it. And of course, all the AI tools we discuss, they can also be of help. Before you execute the search, make also sure you have your search query in order. So your search query is something that should include either Boolean logic, well, or together with truncation and masking. So there are some things that make your search really more productive if you use them. So even if you compare your search output without using or and then you have your search query with this or and you might see that you get more effective results. What is truncation? You can easily see. So if you have variations in endings of the word, you just use asterisks or some other symbol which is specified by the database. Usually database have instructions, what kind of tools, what kind of symbols they use, but originally it's either asterisks or asterisks. So the other sign is used for masking normally, or you just switch them. The dash is used for masking if there is a letter inside the word, because you know the publishers can be British or American. That's why they require British or American spelling, or journals. They can require different spelling within one publisher. So please use that as well. So this is the output that you see. You can use quotes in your search query. You can not use them, it's up to you. But if it's not specified in the instructions to the database, what kind of punctuations, what kind of symbols to use, you can see there is the search with the quotes, the other one is without the quotes, and they still work. So I suggest you go to Elicit or Semantic Scholar and use your developed search query. Generally, what can happen? Sorry, no results found. And what to do? What should be done if this thing happens? Well, the probability of this thing happening if you use a search query with Boolean logic is very low. But then, if it does, make sure you spell the search words correctly. You can use more general search terms. And toggle the Boolean operators. Make sure that if you use or, it adds more, and if you use and, it limits your search. Or you should just try another database. We all know the journals in our field, right? But then again, what kind of quality criteria do you know? This can be a criteria, the number of citations, but what is important is the year of publication. If you are dealing with the recent paper, what is the main quality parameter? We all know. And there is a characteristic called impact factor of a journal. So what is important to know is that in economics and management research domain, there is a good ranking that can help you to select the best journal, to distinguish between good and a bit better journal. So it's called ABS Journal Guide, Association of Business Schools, or AJG, Academic Journal Guide. And if you click on the icon in the PDF version of this presentation, it will redirect you to the website. Or if you just use Google, you can easily access that and register there. It won't take a lot. Or even if you Google up the PDF version of this guide, it's there somewhere in the internet. You can download it. So what does it do? It measures not only the impact factor, but also it has a variety of quality parameters. If you download the file or go to the website, you will see the full methodology. We all work in higher school of economics. Well, the majority of us, we all know that you can get some bonus for publishing in A journal, B journal, C journal, depend on the list of the journals, right? And the main criterion is the impact factor. So this ranking goes beyond that, and it incorporates the impact factor and uses more parameters. And it has 4 groups, actually 5, of journals. So the journal can have 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. And then 4 with the asterisk means it's the best journal ever. So we all know Journal of Business Studies, Journal of International Business Studies. So here it's the best in the international business and area field. So this ranking has a variety of fields that cover economics and management, research domain, finance, statistics, entrepreneurship, everything. But what to do if you cannot find your journal there in this ranking? Well, for example, you have found the benchmark article that fully meets your search criteria. It's about your topic. How to understand what can you do with that? Can you rely on this paper? Is it a quality paper? You just try to understand the journal. If the journal is not in the list, it doesn't mean it's a bad journal, because the next thing you do, you go to the website that is SGR, SciMago, and here you find the journal. So you can see the quartile for the area. If it's quartile 1, it means that's a good journal, but how good is the journal, you can know in the ABS ranking. And you can, of course, look at the impact factor, but then again, it's better to use AJG. If you don't find it in AJG, you should go to SGR and understand, is this quartile the best for the area of interest or not? And this metric, the Scopus quartile, is used to distinguish between quality of the journals and the amount of bonus you get if you're a higher school of economics employee and you have published the paper in one of the journals. You can get the sum depending on the Scopus quartile, the impact factor. So this SJG is based on Scopus and Web of Science, and also Semantic Scholar is mainly based on Web of Science papers. So there is some kind of indirect quality check automatically if you use Semantic Scholar. So if your search results are not good using Semantic Scholar, you can go to EBSCO. But we all know that in EBSCO you have a variety of different quality papers. So if you find something in EBSCO, make sure you use SGR, SciMago website to understand the quartile. Is it quartile 1, quartile 2? And of course, we all know the quality, right, of the paper when reading the paper. But again, different fields have different standards, and we need some formal criteria. And of course, we all use Google Scholar, and there you can find anything. Good publications, low-quality publications, and so on. To make sure you're working with a good piece of research, please start with Semantic Scholar and validate your findings using Academic Journal Guide. And it's also interesting to have your information somehow validated about your experience, your opinion about the journal. Do they agree with the ranking there? So this ranking is issued once in 2 or 3 years, and now 2021 is accessible on the internet. Okay, so our further practice will be trying to use this ranking system to understand how good is the paper. And if you manage to find a very good paper, it should be at least 3 or 4 stars. For my students, when teaching research seminar, especially if it's third-year students or that are just trying to understand what's going on in academic articles, there is a requirement to look only for 4-star papers or 3-star papers so that they really know what a high-quality piece of research looks like. Okay, well, one more illustration is that all the papers which are 3-star, 4-star, and 2-star are Scopus 1 quartile. You can see, right? Profiling. So, but this ranking goes beyond that and distinguishes between the level of quality. So please go ahead and use this ranking in your research practice. Okay, so let's continue with the documenting part. It's important to be able to document your search and never read without making notes. That's one of the most important rules when doing literature search and writing your literature review. So if you have documented the date of your search, the database name, search query, search result, it will really be of help for you when your paper will be in the middle of reviewing process. So you have a good start to continue your search, to update your literature review part. And this is something that optimizes your time dramatically. And this is a must-have if you're writing a systematic literature review as a standalone research, because the statistics can really help you to keep on track with new papers. So after that, according to the framework, we have evaluate and improve your search. And these are 3 questions that we all ask ourselves automatically, but if they're stated explicitly, it can make a big difference. So are the results relevant? What are you looking at? Are there a lot of irrelevant results? If there are, please do something. Yeah? Update your, remove the keywords that have the least impact and so on. Are there any benchmark results, which is the most important question, because we automatically look for this best fit result to get into more papers. So when evaluating and improving your search, you might need to come up with more keywords or more papers to make sure you don't overlook anything. And we also know about that, but it's important to have a full list of things you can do. You can just browse the internet. You can type in the keywords into the Google search that can bring you ResearchGate or any other papers that are, for example, work in progress drafts, or you can use citation searching when quoting, related articles, experts, and reference lists. So related articles and reference lists, it means that sometimes you can find more keywords using that. And if you have found in benchmark papers, of course, going and scrutinizing the references is important. Experts that can give you more information, they're also important, but what is more accessible for you are lit maps, AI tool, and maybe Google Scholar. That can really help you to work out more papers from your best article found using our search query, the first steps we had. So what happens there in lead maps? If you have found your benchmark article that really fits your topic, that is good quality, you go and use it as a seed to generate literature map. And it can really help you to find related articles from people that publish on this topic actively. So it basically draws a map, which you can see in bibliometric literature reviews, and people who are connected, scholars who are engaged into this conversation, this article uh, illustrates. So you just use the function seed, and of course, please explore the functions discover and map, and it can help you to find more papers, more authors. And something you might have known, but it's important to also point it out separately, that Google Scholar can help you go in the other direction. If the seed function on lead maps helps you to work with what has been cited inside your benchmark result, Google Scholar can help you to look at the other side of this conversation, which authors have used your benchmark paper as a part of their papers. So you just go and click to the Cited By button on the Cited By button. So when you click Cited By and you have 1,000 citations, it means you have a very good paper, which is maybe quite an old one. What do you do with your search results? It's just best to sort them using the citation sort by the number of citations for each paper. I personally use Control F function, and I look through the keywords that are names of papers. So maybe the paper is recent, it has no citations, so it's possible for you to sort it in the ascending order and descending order to make sure you don't overlook any recent papers, super new papers that couldn't by default be cited by many people, but they can be impacted. So this is something that can really help you if you will stick to this framework, be systematic, and use all the possible steps. The chances to overlook anything are very small. You have to also include ABS, Association of Business Schools. Yeah, and here it is. And it's 2021. So you register, you get updated, you read the methodology, it's there. But if your journal is not in the guide, you just go to SciMago journals. And for example, you write European Journal of Management Studies. Well, any journal you need, you can find there, which is indexed and has quartile discontinued in Scopus. So why am I showing you this? Because if you scroll to the very bottom, you can see the quartiles. Well, it's 0 because the journal is discontinued. But what is important here is also the publisher. Maybe you can go and find a different journal, but the publisher name can also be there. And if it's, for example, Sage or some other like Emerald or Elsevier, some of the publishers, they're still active for Higher School of Economics Electronic Library, or you just go to the publication DOI and use the proxy to download the paper. But it's not as good in terms of quality checks, because as I told you, all the stars, 3, 4, 2, they can be Scopus 1 quartile. But let's just sum up. So first of all, use a framework for your search. It will optimize your timing a lot. You won't end up doing many things not systematically. Use synonyms as a must in your search, in your literature search, and use scoping search, which means finding some general terms. Of course, Boolean operators, wildcards, and truncating is also something that improves your search a lot. Wide and narrow search, you should balance them, and use wide versus narrow. So the best strategy is to go and use first wide search, then narrow search, then again wide search and narrow search, and continuously improve your search query to get the best results. This is something that people do, but not that systematically. You have to validate your findings using at least one more database. So if it's Semantic Scholar, use one more database to make sure you don't overlook anything. And talk through your challenges with peers and library experts. It can really be of help to get to know more instruments, more websites, maybe for your field. And library experts can help you a lot by sharing the recent updates, like Google Chrome extension and everything like that. Okay, so thank you very much for today.